was my commander, Charlie, oh, Charlie, here we go again.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Cubicle right here on Ghana Talks Radio.
With the paper, I want to build house for my mouth. I didn't believe in my hustle, but man, they pray to my mouth.
My name is Lansah Lawrence and I'll be your host for the next 1 hour. As you know, we come your way at this time every 2:30 in the afternoon from Monday to Thursdays with interesting and exciting editions of the Cubicle. Live on Ghana Talks Radio. We are streaming from Anya in the Greater Accra region. We are live on our Facebook and our YouTube at Ghana Talks Radio and our website at www.GhanaTalksRadio.com.
I hope you say that one day things go better.
So the Cubicle is a platform where we discuss everything and everything that concerns you, papa. And today being Wednesday, we have the Matters of the Youth segment. I want to look at something that is boiling in Parliament today, especially about Mr. Ofori Atta and the NPP MPs.
When the things go harder, we go stronger than no matter.
A lot of U-turns have been made in Parliament over the last week, last 2 weeks, over the last 3 weeks, over last month, 2 months, 3 months ago. What does it all been about? Why do the NPP MPs keep making U-turns? And what does it mean for the fate and the job of Mr. Ofori Atta, the finance minister? What does it mean for the ordinary Ghanaian as well? This and more I'll answer or try to discuss right here on the Cubicle. So if you are just tuning in, stay put and stay with us. I want to take a very, very short break. And when I come back, we go into the issues proper. Like I said, we're looking at the U-turns that the NPP MPs keep making. Why do they keep making the U-turns? And how does it affect the ordinary Ghanaian? In particular, the job of Mr. Ofori Atta, the Minister of Finance. So stay tuned. We'll be right back right here on Ghana Talks Radio. Stay tuned.
Now, maybe Cousin Legend, your host for Nigerian Rendezvous. I feel like make you join me every Wednesdays and Saturdays from 12 to 1:30 p.m. as I'm going to summon you every story when they come out directly from Nigeria, right here on Ghana Talks Radio. Indigenous people of Biafra, their leader, Uwebim Nandikano, they don't fear you. Don't forget, so if you follow us on our social media platforms at Ghana Talks Radio on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere, download our app, Ghana Talks Radio. If na Android they use, I be na iPhone. Download our app. Peace.
What up, GH? What's going on? We come your way with the latest fella, and yes, are you looking for the latest news about your favorite celebrity? Who married who and who cheated on who? Here we'll discuss everything with fun, joy, and comedy. Join myself on Huma Lillian, DJ Coverage, and Master of Comedy Alaji Zongo on Wednesday at exactly 8 p.m. live on Ghana Talks Radio.
The matters of love are the matters of the heart.
Is that so? Why do we separate between emotions and reason?
Under the moon say, we pick the most daring of issues surrounding love, relationships, and family lives.
We speak on the topic most people like to keep to themselves.
With our brilliant panelists, we open the discussions into your love life.
So join us this and every Thursday at 8 p.m. live on Ghana Talks Radio.
Be a part of the conversation, enjoy the excitement, and let's find the answers together.
As we hustle all day long, we are open.
So welcome right back here to the Cape GhanaTalksRadio. Like I said before the break, we're looking at the NPP MPs, their continuous U-turn, and what it means for us, what it means for Mr. Ofori Atta, and what it means for the government or the president himself. But before I continue, I get started my conversation, I want to read a little bit of news that's out there that came out last night, especially from the NPP caucus in Parliament. So the NPP MPs have reversed their threats to boycott doing business with Mr. Ofori Atta, and this actually involves the presentation of the 2023 budget to Parliament. From their statement, let me read a bit from their statement, and is that this was a resolution of impasse in the NPP parliamentary group. Over the past 2 weeks, especially after the president had engaged the majority caucus over the calls to oust the Minister of Finance, as well as the Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, and a statement on the engagement being issued, the country has witnessed a heightened public/media discussion on the same subject matter. And they continue to say that there have been occasional individual interventions, some of which have not helped the resolution of the issue in contention. On the other hand, some of these interventions have contributed to escalate tensions and suspicions. They continue the statement that was released yesterday, 22nd November, and they continue to say, at the meeting this evening, that was yesterday, involving the majority caucus, the leadership of the party and council of elders, so NPP, the core NPP, or the leadership of NPP, it has been agreed by all to refocus and recline to the earlier position requested by the president. And we all know that when these calls to oust or all these calls for the finance minister to resign were echoed by the NPP MPs, they had the president, His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, invited the MPs to what? To deliberate on that particular demand. And what they achieved was that they were to hold on until the negotiations with the IMF is done. So this is what they said. To it, one, the demand to be stood down until the conclusion of the round of negotiations with the IMF, which will feed into the 2023 budget. The second agreement was the budget, the 2023 budget statement, economic policy, on the 24th of November by the finance minister on behalf of the president, and then subsequent presentation and passage of the appropriation bill. So the agreement was basically to hold on the demands. Then once the minister goes through the IMF negotiation, he can come to Parliament and then present his budget for 2023. Then the MPs can help pass that budget or pass the appropriation bill. That was what they agreed with Mr. President. Since then, a lot has also been going on. That didn't change the mind, or that didn't change the position of the NPP MPs. They were just going to hold on to those demands. So the content said the meeting agreed that the president will act upon the initial request of the NPP parliamentary caucus after the conclusion of these matters. So after these, after the IMF negotiation, after the reading of the budget and the passage of the budget, now the president will now say, okay, Mr. Ofori Atta, I want to fire you as my finance minister. That's what they said was agreed with Mr. President. In the meantime, the leadership of Parliament's group, of the parliamentary group, the leadership of the NPP, counselled the honourable members of Parliament to resort to the caucus communication channels and to the largest extent possible work together as one caucus. This particular issue brought a lot of friction within the NPP in Parliament, because it was the point some of us say 80 MPs, 90 MPs, 98 MPs are calling for the minister to resign, and they were part of the NPP caucus. So there was a split, there was a division among NPP, causing a lot of chaos. And they said, okay, let's resort to internal mechanisms to solve our impasse, and that's what they are doing. So the leadership and the party in this regard call on the members of Parliament to attend to all government businesses in the House, including in particular the 2023 budget statement policy presentation by the minister. So the crux of this matter is that the NPP, the members of Parliament or the NPP MPs who joined the call for Minister Ofori Atta to resign had said that, okay, they had met with the president and they've listened to the president, but they are still insisting that Mr. Ofori Atta resigns after the IMF negotiations. But even further, they went to say that, okay, if he doesn't resign and he goes through with the IMF negotiation, when he comes to Parliament, we will not support his budget presentation or statement to the House. And that will mean a lot, because it means that just like last year, the budget will be on hold, will not be passed for a long time, and government business will continue to suffer. So yesterday's statement was that, okay, now we are all backing down from our demand that we will boycott the budget presentation, and then we will support the finance minister to present his budget. This morning, one of the headlines on one of the NPP, one of the popular newspapers, the Daily Guide, says that 2023 budget statement, let's show leadership, Mr. Kennedy Japan to MPs. So Mr. MP, popular MP, Mr. Kennedy Japan, who is eyeing the flag bearership seat of position of the NPP, was urging his colleagues in parliament to show leadership, or to, in other words, show their support to the Minister for Finance for him to come and present his budget to the parliament. And this has been the headline on the major news outlets or major newspapers in the country. We'll get to what it means by the minister presenting the budget. Does it mean that the IMF deal is now done, or there's a headway? What is the status? Is it a signal that maybe something has been agreed finally? We'll get there. But I want us to take a step back to how all these issues started in the first place. What is the background of these Ken must go, Ken should not go, Ken vindicated, all of these hashtags that have been trending on our social media? As we all know, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta is Ghana's finance minister. So he's not a new person. He has been a finance minister since 2017, since the first administration of Mr. Adedankwa Akufo-Addo, or Dr. Adedankwa Akufo-Addo, His Excellency. But how has all these issues started? How did all these issues start? And that's why I want to look at the background of what we are going through today as a country, or what's going on in Parliament, or what is going on among NPP MPs in Parliament. You know, there was this initial decision, or there was this initial, what I'll put it as, speculations that the government or the president will call on the minister to go to the IMF to try and get a deal for the country, because we're going through some tough times, especially balance of payment and stuff. But the NPP were categorical that we will not go to the IMF. And for me, I think that's where all these issues about Ken must go, Ken should not go, Ken vindicated started from, right? So they categorical in parliament that we are not going to the IMF. Even the finance minister was so categorical, like Ghana is a proud nation, we know how to handle our issues, and we can handle our issues, and we don't see why we should go to the IMF. We are not like other leaders trying to throw some shade on the NDC government or President Mohammed's government, right? So that was what was going on. Everybody was like, let's go to IMF. The NDC, I remember the General Secretary for NDC, Sayyidin Kitia, was saying, no, the government has no option, but they have to go to IMF. The finance minister was categorical and very clear that Ghana is not going to the IMF. And for me, I think that's where, like I said, that's where I think all these issues started from. The night that there was this announcement that Ghana was now going to the IMF, actually in parliament during the day, there were still arguments by even the deputy finance minister that no, Ghana is not going to the IMF. But by evening time, the announcement that okay, we are going to the IMF had come in. And I think that's one of the first U-turns that I noticed, especially about this Mr. Ken Ofori Atta resignation or not saga. So immediately, a shadow, or I don't know, a shade or a shadow was thrown on just the integrity of the finance minister at that point, because as a finance minister, you were categorical that the country is not going to the IMF. The next day, the country is going to the IMF. Elsewhere, apart from Ghana and most African countries, elsewhere he would have resigned immediately, just out of principle. But no, that didn't happen. But yes, like I said, that is where all the issues started from. And if any NPP MP had any disaffection for the finance minister, I think that was where it would have started from, because we all know that this is a group of MPs who have always stuck behind and defended their finance minister. No matter the policy, no matter what spending he wants to do, he comes to parliament and is approved. So there's no way the NPP MPs can be tired of the finance minister. No. But immediately after this IMF, we will not go issue. I think the finance minister lost a lot of credibility, not just among the whole nation or people interested in the governance of the country, but even among the NPP, especially in parliament. quite apart from this IMF issue, the issue of rising inflation came in. I think last 2 months to now, Ghana has been hot, bro. Like Ghana has been damn hot. Everybody's feeling the heat in their pockets. You will buy something, you will cry. Like you have to buy, but you don't want to buy, but you have to buy. You are spending big, much more than you used to spend. So the rising inflation didn't help. Led to a high cost of living. A lot of prices went up. People started banging, making noise, getting annoyed and angry because they were feeling the heat. And obviously that did not help the finance minister's case. So I'm just trying to pick from the background of where this dissatisfaction for the finance minister may have come from among the NPP MPs. Then the CSOs got onto the bandwagon. They were also insisting that the finance minister had to go because he was the one who led us into this ditch in the first place. His borrowing, his policies, all of that contributed to why Ghana is where we are today. So he had to go. If not for anything, just for the reverse of this IMF issue, he had to go. So there were growing calls for the finance minister to resign. And at this point, the NPP was not yet involved. The NPP was mute and silent, especially when the parliament was not what parliament was on break at that time. So a lot was going on, a lot of demands for the finance minister to go. Just after the IMF issue and then the rising cost of rising inflation, rising cost of prices were going up and cost of living also going up. Lots of Ghanaians were agitated and the costs were getting louder and louder. And then the NDC also joined in. So, from ordinary Ghanaians to CSOs, now to NDC. And the NDC is the only opposition party in government, in parliament right now. So they also joined in like, finance minister, you have to go, you have to resign. Ken must go. Is Ken going? So NDC joined the bandwagon and they also demanded that the finance minister resign. So this issue of the finance minister resigning or not started from this IMF review thing. And today, the topic, like I said, our topic is politicians will always be politicians. The NPP MPs retract on their demands for Ken to go. Following this background, a lot of things change and quickly. Before Mr. Ken Ofori Atta could even resign, or at least respond to these calls by a lot of Ghanaians, CSOs, the NDC, something very unusual and unexpected happened. I know by now we all know what happened, but I want us to take a very short break. When we come back, look at what happened after the NDC called for the finance minister to resign and how the NPP respond to it and why are we here today. Still can stay with me. We are still on the cubicle on GhanaTalksRadio. When we come back, we continue our discussion. Stay tuned.
What up, GH? What's going on? We come your way with the latest fella, and yes, are you looking for the latest news about your favorite celebrities? Who married who and who cheated on who? Here we'll discuss everything with fun, joy, and comedy. Join myself on Himalayan DJ Coverage and Master of Comedy Alaji Zongo on Wednesday at exactly 8 p.m. live on GhanaTalksRadio.
The matters of love are the matters of the heart.
Is that so? Where do we separate between emotions and reason?
Under the moonset, we pick the most daring of issues surrounding love, relationships, and family lives.
We speak on the topic most people like to keep to themselves.
With our brilliant panelists, we open the discussions into your love life.
So join us this and every Thursday at 8 p.m. live on GhanaTalksRadio.
Be a part of the conversation, enjoy the excitement, and let's find the answers together.
Every occasion demands the company of good music that fits the purpose. At GTR Sounds, we understand your need to create just the right atmosphere for your wedding or engagement, party, funeral, crusade, political campaign or rally, or just any other event, as well as executive and corporate functions. With our modern and high-quality spinning machines, mixers, microphones, and power amplifiers, binary speakers, and subs, we offer the highest of sound quality and music play at your events and functions. At GTR Sounds, we have a team of seasoned and highly experienced sound engineers who understand just the right choice of music for your event. Locate our studios at Aponchi Hotel in Anya or call our numbers 054-8522-897 or 027-3363-973. You can also reach via our email sounds@GhanaTalksRadio.com. At GTR Sounds, we take care of your event.
Nobody feeling the way I'm feeling tonight, yeah. And I have the hope that things will be alright, yeah. So we're feeling irate as we hustle all day long. We are hoping, say that one day things go better.
So you're welcome right back to the cubicle on GhanaTalksRadio. Before the break, we were discussing Mr. Ken Ofori Atta's office or position, the woes, the troubles that he has been going through since, and we are saying that most of it started actually from the decision to go to the IMF. We all know that he was categorical that the government or the president is not going, or the country is not going to the IMF, but eventually we are at IMF. The build-up continued to where a lot of issues, especially the rising inflation, cost of goods and services, and cost of living, was so hard for Ghanaians to bear within that short time. So the calls got louder and louder. Then the NDC joined. Before we went for, I was asking, just after the NDC joined, something dramatic happened, and that was when the NPP MPs also joined. I think it's one of the first times that a governing party in Ghana, members of its parliament, or members of its parliamentary caucus, actually came out to demand that their colleague or their party member or the minister in their government from their own party resigned. And when these calls were made, a lot of noise was made about it. Like, are they serious? Is it a strategy? What are they trying to achieve by that? Because even NPP wants Mr. Ken Ofori Atta to go. This is unheard of. But this was the case. The state press conferences were held to state their position. And for them, they were of the opinion that if he went, then there'll be confidence in the system or in the economy, especially on the side of investors. So yes, Mr. Ken Ofori NPP MPs came in hard on Mr. Ken Ofori Atta. And that was where these fractions in the NPP parliamentary caucus started to grow wider and wider. But what did they result in? So we know that even whilst the NPP MPs were on it, or also joined the bandwagon for Mr. Ken to resign, the NDC quickly filed a motion of censure against the finance minister. So they wanted to vote him out of office. They wanted to censure him. They wanted to say that, oh, Charlie, you've done well for Ghana, but please go. And they had to do it through the parliamentary processes. So one of the ways was what? To go through the censure motion, which was what? Laid before Parliament by the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu. Right? And remember, at that same time, NPP MPs were still demanding that the finance minister left his office. But what happened? You know, they had met the president when they started making the calls, and the president was like, they decided on some 3 conditions after which he can act on their demand. That was one of them, or majorly included that the finance minister should take care of the IMF negotiations and then present his budget to Parliament, the 2023 budget. So after that, maybe the president will act on their demand. One interesting thing also happened was that when the NDC laid the censure motion, the debate started, and this voting or this motion was referred to an ad hoc committee by the Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Alban Bagbed. And when we all thought that, okay, now both parties want him to go, because NPP wants him to go, NDC wants him to go. We thought that, okay, now that NPP has refused to vote, NDC has refused to vote. I said NPP has refused to vote in this. When they go to this, at least they will try and push him out gently. But that wasn't what happened. What happened actually was that NPP were strong and stout behind the finance minister. If you look at the composition of the committee, which I was talking about on Monday, 8 members, 4 NPP, 4 NDC, and everybody was pushing their agenda. He must go, he will not go. And we all saw it. The NPP MPs stood solidly behind the finance minister. Mind you, this is not supposed to be surprising to us, but when the members of parliament from the NPP side were like, okay, you have to go, everybody thought that no, when they come to the hearing, at least they will help the NDC to at least push the minister, but that did not happen. They defended him through thin and thick, how do you proceed? Yeah, that's what's been going on. Before I even continue to say what is going to happen, what has been happening, I want to just say that this censure hearing or this motion, for me, felt like a referendum, not just on the work or the performance of the finance minister, but even a referendum on the performance of the NPP government, the NPP in parliament, and especially the president of the republic, Dr. Akufo-Addo. And I think that's why the NPP stood by the finance minister. That yes, even though the NDC wants him to go out and they filed a censure against him, we will not let him go out on the terms of the NDC. Because once he does that, once they are able to achieve that particular victory with this censure, it means that referendum has been passed on all of us, our performance, that we are all poor. We all didn't perform. Do you know why? Because we were those passing his policies. We were those passing his budgets. Like I said, politicians will always be politicians. They don't care about you, bro. They don't care about you. They care about themselves and their interests. So whereas Ghanaians were like, Ken must go, NPP were like, Ken must go, NDC was like Ken must go, they knew that censure itself was a referendum on the ability of the whole NPP government, not just the minister. And that was the reason why the NPP stood behind Mr. Ofori Atta. So yeah, the hearing played out, we all got it, and then at the end of the hearing, a lot of the hashtag Ken Vindicated started roaming around social media, especially on Twitter. Ken was vindicated. My comments on that particular trend would be that, Charlie, if you are still buying things more at the higher cost than you used to buy them, you are still buying it and you are ordinary Ghanaian, don't go in trend Ken Vindicated. Until you can buy things cheaper than you are buying right now, then you can go in trend Ken has been vindicated, because we are still in that problem, we are still in that mess. We fall for too much humility in Ghana. I don't understand. Someone is humble, but the person don't call it that, but still he says he's humble, so he should be there. Meanwhile, you are the one suffering his decision, the consequences of his decisions. You see that? So yeah, NPP has stuck with the minister. But the more interesting aspect of this particular issue is that even though they were still backing him through the hearing at the censure at the parliament, they were still demanding that he will go, or that he should go. And that there were still demands that they are going to boycott the budget presentation. And that is what I want to talk about today. That the whole talk of it, just because I just want to highlight the U-turns from the NPP MPs in Parliament. Like the U-turns, there are so much U-turns. First of all, you said we're not going to the IMF. Then we went to the IMF. Then you said when the calls for Ken to resign started coming out, you were all dead silent. No one was saying anything from the NPP camp. Everybody was silent. Then immediately out of nowhere, you came and said, yes, Ken must go. You also added to the voice of the people, Ken must go. Now the big question is that were you just being strategic in terms of your political ambitions? Were you trying to save your own seats for your own individual selves, obviously, or your selfish interests, or were you actually joining the rest of Ghana to what? To cry or to demand the right thing to be done? Because you cannot say that Ken must go, and then when they say censure, you say you won't vote. When you go to a hearing, you back the finance minister. Are you just being politicians, or you are now more than politicians? You are now being Ghanaians, or you are not siding with Ghanaians? Then when later they came back to join the cause, that yes, Ken must go. And then the president invited them. After they say Ken must go, then now came and say, oh, the president said that, okay, you see, let's let Ken finish with the IMF negotiation, then we can now fire you. Another U-turn. So they now back down on the Ken must go again to now say, okay, let's finish after the IMF. Too much, another 10, too many U-turns. Too many U-turns. First of all was that we're not going to the IMF. We went to the IMF. Second, when the whole Ghana was saying Ken must go, you were quiet. No one said anything from the NPP. And so when the shouts and cries were loud, very, very loud in your ears, you couldn't resist. You had to come back and say that, okay, Ken must go. Now my question was that were you saying that out of convenience, or just to secure your own selfish interest as individual members of parliament? Were you being patriotic or you were being partisan when you were saying that Ken must go? Because we all know that even though you are a caucus, each person is an individual MP representing some number of Ghanaians. That's why they're in the parliament house. So if your constituents are suffering, it's just prudent to side with them. But if you side with them today and tomorrow you change your position, you go back to the NPP, what are you trying to tell Ghanaians in the first place? Like I said, mind you, the performance of the finance minister is not just an indictment to him or himself, him and his work, but also to the whole of the NPP government, especially those in parliament and the executive, or the head of the executive, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo. But where else did they take another U-turn? Another very, very interesting U-turn was the time they were supporting and backing the minister at the censure hearing. The same time they were also telling the minister to go. So why are you backing me at the censure hearing and the same time you are telling me to go again? Like, why double standards? Too much. Too much. So right now it is agreed. Let's let the minister go after IMF negotiations. That was the agreement with the president. Now you are saying that, okay, no, we know, but we are still going to boycott his budget presentation. We will not let him present the budget. There were even news and speculation out there that it was the majority leader who was going to present the budget, 2023 budget. So the NPP in parliament looked like they had moved from the finance minister totally, even though they had a political duty to perform to protect him against the NDC. And in the political view, it's not a problem. But if you're going to present yourself to Ghanaians as siding the plight of Ghanaians, why don't you? Why are you not? Why are you not consistent with your opinions and what you stand for? The question is that at what point did the NPP MPs have the interest of the Ghanaian people in this whole Ken must go matter? At what point did they uphold the interest of the Ghanaian people over their own individual interests as individual MPs and then as a collective of NPP caucus in parliament? Do we always have to be partisan? Do we always have to be politicians? That's the question. Do you always have to be politicians in every matter, no matter what the ordinary Ghanaian is going, no matter what your constituents are going through? Because you cannot say A today and tomorrow come and say B, or you say A, and then when they say let's do A, say no, I said A, but I meant small A, not capital A, so let's go and do the small A. Then you go back to small A, say no, I don't want small A, let's go back to what? B. Like, you are just moving from A to Z. Who are you trying to protect? Is it your interest or the interest of the ordinary Ghanaian? And I think the NPP MPs, they are not giving a good account of themselves in the face of Ghanaians when they keep twisting and turning their positions. It doesn't help. If you are solidly behind the minister, be behind him from the beginning. Don't throw that in the eyes of the Ghanaian and say that, oh, we also want him to go out. We know he's not performing. When he goes out, the people have investors will have confidence in the economy, so things can get better. And then at the same time, you go to the parliament, you refuse to vote him out. You go to the committee hearing, you defend him. And then once you're defending him, you say, oh, Ken, but you still have to go. Then you said, okay, we will not support your budget presentation. Then just today or yesterday, you said, okay, we will not support your budget presentation. So what are you saying? What are you just telling Ghanaians at all? What is your message to the ordinary Ghanaian at all? As leadership in parliament or as a body of our body politics in Ghana? I want to take a break. When I come back, I just want to conclude on what I understand from whatever is happening from these youth turns that the NPP is having in Parliament, and what it means for them now, and what it means to the ordinary Ghanaians, and what that also means on a possible outcome of the 2024 elections when we get there, inshallah. So stick and stay. You are still on the cubicle right on GhanaTalksRadio. We'll come back after this short break and then we'll conclude our discussion. Stay put.
What's up, people? I go by the name Coin Takra. Now what's the level? Bam, now listen, time it's Coin Takra every Friday on Ghana Talks Radio, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Someone winning with the Dow Bet. I got another segment for you guys. Now listen, it's all about the up and coming round table. You be rapper, you dey sing, or you feel say you get talent, you get songs. No, listen, send your song and picture via roundtable at GhanaTalksRadio.com or just WhatsApp us on 020-254-4614. Up and coming artist round table. Now listen, every week beyond we go select 10 best artists. Our judges good days to you. Best one, but we never forget the fans and on all social media and on our street and so on. Then go vote. Nobody can know. We go invite them for studio and we get surprises for the artists. What you see? So last Friday of every month, we go invite the first week, second week, third week in your D Kangno. Near the Wama Bus Studio, and we get so many prizes for the soldiers. So up and coming round table. If you be artist, Charlie, just put a song there. You go blow them. One in your corner. Be a mammy at that. Wadding. Jajai.
Previously on Odomunsem, the discussion on what was wife and mother infraction. What could be the causes, and it was interactive.
And as I say, oh, while I say, Oti, a bushia fee, oh, my made party, wah. Cham, and you saw that problem, pa. And see, the didn't sign Tawane Bano. Yes, I know my
my minute in the sun, the Bano catch and said, Jim de Uku, Nemo, a diagram have a 5. Unano ma, Kwame J. Kwame J. School crowing to me, Kobe, and Ukum Casa. So this issue is a popiba.
Join this Thursday episode as we talk over what will you do if you find out a serious secret your partner hide from you. Live on Ghana Talks Radio. Join the live stream on Ghana Talks Radio Facebook page and YouTube page, or visit our website www.GhanaTalksRadio.com or call our studio line 020-254-4614. This program is sponsored by BB's Perfine Bakery, Thames Metal Corporation and GTR Sounds. Ghana Talks Radio, giving the youth a voice.
You do for yourself. You do bad. You do for yourself. Nobody feeling the way I'm feeling tonight, yeah. And I have the hope that things will be alright, yeah. So we're feeling irate.
So welcome right back here to the Cubicle on Ghana Talks Radio.
We are hoping say that one day things go better.
So if you are discussing the twists and turns, the constant U-turns that the NPP MPs in Parliament are doing to Ghanaians, what does it mean? Why are they always changing their position? Is it for their own selfish interests as individual parliamentarians? Is it to protect their party, or is to protect the finance minister? What does the censure motion mean to the output or to the outlook of the whole NPP in government? And has there been any point where the NPP MPs have always had the interests of the Ghanaian people at heart, especially when they came to call that the MP or the finance minister had to resign? Now they change their position. Why did they change their position? Was it just out of convenience? Was it just to protect their own? Was it that they are trying to protect the interests of Ghanaians? Was it that they are trying to keep their own seats? Like I said before the brief, for me, I felt that this censure was actually a referendum on the performance of the whole of the NPP government, not just the finance minister. Because the finance minister, yeah, he brings the budget, he brings the statement, but the NPP MPs who pass it. Last year, they were fisticuffs in parliament over the passage of the budget. The budget had to be held on for some weeks, to a point where someone said the budget has been passed, someone said it has not been passed. So today, we don't even have the finance on that issue, but the budget is what it has been spent. So yes, the NPP MPs had a role to play in the performance of the finance minister, and they cannot observe themselves of that particular thing. So if you claim to say you want him to go, stay on that position. Don't turn left, don't turn right today, and turn left tomorrow the other day. It doesn't help. But like I said, what does it have on the outlook What does the ordinary Ghanaian make of that? What does the ordinary Ghanaian make of those two sentences? For me, I'll just say that it's clear that they are more interested, first of all, in their individual survival as politicians. So we all know that maybe it's true that Ghanaians are complaining about the economy, and then the finance minister doesn't want to go. So we are all going to be, we all get the blame some. So let me save myself, right? Let me save myself, and that's what I think that they did. First of all, that's what they're trying to do. Let me save my seat. Let me come and say that I don't support him. I want him to go, so that people will still have some kind of affection for me. First of all, so the individual survival aspect, and then the interest of the party and the president. So it's very, very important that even though we understand that they're individuals, but they're also members and leaders of the NPP. So whatever they must do to protect the interests of the NPP, especially in Parliament, they will do so, and that is why they are already behind the finance minister, especially during the hearing or the censure hearing. But the question still is that why do you say that when you don't want him to go through censure, you want him to resign or the president to let him go, but then you also said that you don't want to support his budget, and today or yesterday you said, okay, we'll not support your budget presentation. Why do you keep changing your poll? Why do you keep shifting it? Is that you don't respect Ghanaians as people who understand what they are going through or what? And then finally, the interest of the finance minister. How much of interest do we have in the interest of the finance minister to stay at post? Because the finance minister claims that a lot of things that we are going through as a country is due to COVID and the Ukraine war, and then some other external shocks. But before COVID and Ukraine war, there were lots of improvement. That was what he said at the censure here. So for him, in his own eyes, he has done everything well for the economy to go on. So are they trying to keep him on to change it, or to improve, or to change the situation again? Why? What's the interest of keeping the finance minister at post? Last week I was listening to his presentation. Like, Charlie, if you feel you are doing the best, you've taken all the best decisions for Ghana, and we are still in this position, that means the decision we take are not the best for Ghana. It's simple as that. If you feel that the work you were doing, the decision that you took as a finance minister was in the best interest of the country, but we are still in this mess, even counting COVID and Ukraine, Russia war, you are still in this. It means that the decision that you took, I think they were the best, were not the best for the country. Because you cannot take good decisions and then to lead to bad consequences. It doesn't happen, especially if you run the economy. So yeah, one thing I have to add as conclusion is that everything has been a charade. Like the NPP MPs have just been tossing with us. That is what I want to conclude with. I don't know. I understand them from the perspective of being politicians, trying to protect their own political careers, and then to protect the interests of their party, and then protect the interests of the president. But at some point in time, a politician can also be a citizen. You just don't have to wear the party colors all the time. And that's what the title of this particular discussion was. The politicians will always be politicians. Is that the case in Ghana? Have the calls from the NDC also been have they been valid? What has been the merit of their cause for the president, for the finance minister to go? I said last week that the censure hearings was just someone. I remember there was this commentary by one of the professors. He said, "You are just prolonging something which is inevitable." So this censure thing is just for me. I feel like it's just a prolongment of an extended argument. It doesn't help anyone, because it will go back to Parliament for the vote to be held, and the vote will not be held. And when the vote they goes 137, the motion will fall. So there's no way the MP will go, the finance minister will go through the motion. So was it just an issue, an issue of humiliating the MP, the minister from the side of the minority? Was that in the interest of all the whole of Ghana? I don't know. The politicians keep tossing with Ghanaians as if we can still suffer and we don't care, because we are trying to protect our own interests as politicians. And should that be the case? You want the man to go out. He said he won't go. The president said he won't go. And now NDC sends a motion. Essentially, this censure won't pass. We all know it will not pass because they have 137. When it goes to a vote and everyone wants to whip his or his members, the vote will not be successful. Especially when we now know that the NPP are now ready to listen to the finance minister and work with him again as in the business of Parliament. So the vote will not succeed. So why do we spend all the money on the committee? Was this committee in the interest of all Ghana? Like I said, if not for democracy, apart from that, there's nothing good. I can still be wrong, but I know I'm not wrong about this. When the report goes to the speaker and it gets to the house for the debate to be held on it and for the vote, we'll all see. Nothing will happen. If something happens, then I'll come back here and I'll praise the NPP MPs more, because I know that maybe some of them will vote against the finance minister, but it's not happening, because right now, see the communique they released. They are also already behind him and are trying to protect him again. They're trying to work with him again. They'll listen to him when he's going to submit his budget. So where is the honorary Ghanaian in all this front and back? Nowhere. The honorary Ghanaian is nowhere in this midst of scramble. There's no honorary Ghanaian. The interest of the honorary Ghanaian is not catered for. Because what has changed since then? A lot is still in the mess. We are still in a ditch. So our leaders, if you can do better than what you are doing right now, I think to help all of us. Like I said, everything was a charade for them, at least a heavy reaction to the anger of Ghana. So when Ghanaians were angry, they decided to react, and they were nervous about it. So they said, "Oh, okay, the minister had to go," but they were not real about it. And that too was for the selfish interest. So that one too was for them to protect their own seats, not for the interest of any other ordinary Ghanaian. And it's a pity that in Ghana, politicians will always be politicians. At a point in time, politicians can be human beings. Politicians can be citizens. Politicians can be ordinary citizens who feel the pain, who feel the pain of the ordinary Ghanaian officer or the colleague of ordinary Ghanaian. Not just you being at the political elite and then you don't understand what is going on down there. You don't want to share in the pain of ordinary Ghana. You don't want to stand with us when it matters, but you always try to protect your own interests. You protect your own seats, protect your own party, protect your own president, protect your own caucus, your own agenda. It doesn't help. That's why Ghana, we are where we are. This has been a cable right on GhanaTalksRadio. My name is Lansah Lawrence. Like I said, politicians will always be politicians in Ghana. But is that a good sign for us? Definitely no. As citizens, let's do our best and then try and call out our leaders when they are trying to take us for a ride. This has been a cable right on GhanaTalksRadio. My name has been Lansah Lawrence. I've been here with DJ Copyright as my producer. I want to say thank you to him and thank you to the staff and the management of GTR. Tonight we have GA Trends at 8 p.m. All the trends that have been going on in Ghana, all the interesting stuff that you've missed, you've not missed all of them, come tonight for the use of it on GA Trends live on GhanaTalksRadio at 8 p.m. Continue to enjoy the rest of our shows till then. And the staple, you can watch all our shows on our website www.GhanaTalksRadio.com or on our YouTube at GhanaTalksRadio. My name is Lansah. Tomorrow we come with a review of Ghana versus Portugal versus Ghana, Ghana's first match at the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Who wins tomorrow's match? Is it Ghana or Portugal? We'll come away with another edition, the sports edition of the show. Bye bye from me.
Yeah, yeah.